All right, so let's take the discussion forward. Santosh Kumar Singh of Motilal Oswal is joining us now. Santosh, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Very soon we will be getting you on our Hindi channel 18 of Swadesh as well, and I know that आपकी हिंदी काफ़ी अच्छी है, so we will be having these discussions on market on 18 of Swadesh as well.
Thank you for that.
But Santosh, chatting with you after a long time at your desk. What all are you researching right now? What area of work have got you occupied? Market valuations, earnings. What have you been reading lately?
Means this is a market which is keeping you busy with things. When actually with things which you may not want to do in the past, right? Because the markets have been unidirectional, and whatever you are thinking before you can execute, the market tends to move up in that particular direction. But one of the areas which is keeping us a lot busy has been the digital space and IT space, because that's one area which has just kept on going up. And then what our belief is that digital is one area where we are going to see some of the largest companies being created over next 10 years. But the difficulty is finding the right stocks, because this is one segment where finding the stocks is very difficult, because whatever you invest in, most of the things are not going to make money, because this is a space where there is this criteria of winners takes all, and that's where the problem lies in this particular space. So that is one space which is keeping us quite busy. And other than that, the IT space, and then the regular stuff around what we think around the capital formation, because we are quite bullish on that particular theme, and we think capital formation will be one of the biggest theme to be played out over next 3-4 years. So that's another area we are working a lot on.
Santosh, let's talk about an area which you understand very well, and you've had some very nice calls also in the direction of NBFCs and housing finance. Housing finance lately have sparked off after seeing a rally in the main sector, which is real estate, where volumes are taking off all across the country. Major developers' commentary seem to be suggesting that. What about that universe? What kind of name would you like there? The large national pan-India players, or some players who are backed by public sector enterprises, they have good reach as well, or something else? How do you play the housing finance piece?
So clearly, this is one space I would say if I would be very bullish from a 3-4 year perspective, even from a 5 year perspective, because housing space per se is coming through from a very long bear run, almost 10 years of bad cycle, the housing sector per se. And that has meant that housing prices have not gone up. Your housing, the total volumes have not gone up, which has had an impact on housing finance sector as a whole. And despite that, the sector has shown growth. And last 2-3 years, the problem has been around the developer book for most of the housing finance companies, where the developer has faced a lot of problems. But my view is that most of the negatives or most of the problem with this sector is now in the past. We may keep seeing the numbers. The problem with the housing finance is the past tends to unfold over a few quarters. So for a few quarters, we may keep seeing the numbers. But clearly, if I'm looking at 3-4-5 year perspective, actually most of the housing financials, and specifically the large ones, I would really tend to be quite bullish on. And this is a segment which is very inexpensive in a very expensive market.
That's a very good point, Santosh, and I know that you are a very conservative analyst. You like to not get carried away in the market momentum or enthusiasm, and you look at valuation very deeply. But it's a very big universe. Some HDFC Limited is the market leader, but Canfin Homes, PNB Housing Finance, so many of them. Any clutch of name which come in handy on valuation versus business model front, or you would avoid names?
Ajay, I won't be able to talk about names actually, because of the SEBI regulations. But just to put it into perspective, housing finance segment per se tends to go in one direction. It's like everyone tends to trade in a single direction, and in my view, some companies will make less, but others will make more. But you are going to make a lot of money in this particular space with most of the companies.
Okay, let's move on and talk about lenders then. What about NBFCs, the non-housing piece? How do you stack up valuations there?
The non-housing is, I think, is an area where I would think the valuations have got stretched because they have run off. And see, the problem of looking at NBFCs is that people tend to look at it as a sector. It's not a sector. It's a mixture of so many sectors because most of them are monoliners, and then they tend to follow the core sector which they are lending to. So if I'm looking at, say, auto finance, I would say some of the players there may have the evaluations may have got stretched because the expectations have been very high. And if I look at some of the maybe if I look at non-banking, in the non-banking and non-lending space, a lot of the players which you can call digital, the day I attach digital name to any of the players, suddenly the stock tends to skyrocket. So outside housing finance, I will be very picky because the valuations, although the fundamentals may remain strong because they are also coming from bad cycle, but the valuations are stretched. So I'll be quite picky in the non-housing finance space.
Sure, names like Bajaj Finance have gone to 10, 12 times price to book just because the little business model is being seen as a fintech now. All right, Santosh, we'll let you go on that. Thanks so much for your time today.